Here we
You blew it! You blew it!
This man was a bona fide scrub.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh, boy, you.
I'm funny how? I'm funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you. I make you laugh, I'm here to fucking amuse you. What do you mean funny? Funny how? I'm not funny.
Rest in peace, Biggie Smalls. And welcome to another edition of the Participation Trophy Podcast. This is the 24th edition of the show. The shining stars cast over Brooklyn are aligned for us tonight, as this is the 24th podcast on the 24th anniversary of Christopher Wallace's death, who was taken away from us at the young age of, wait for it, 24. We got the squad up in here as usual: Jamal Smith, Zain Zaidi, Neil Dalal, I am Abdullah. We got another good one for you. NBA All-Star Weekend has come and gone. We'll get into the good, the bad, the ugly of all the festivities in Atlanta. Dak Prescott is a made man, getting that Jerry Jones paper, $75 million at the top of the deal, despite having half a left leg. We'll get into that and some other NFL happenings in Open Gym. We'll share our thoughts on the reboot of Coming to America, and the newly released Biggie documentary on Netflix was dropped here in the week of his death anniversary. But first, we're going to get into some other disheartening anniversary. This month of March marks 1 year since our lives as we knew it once upon a time changed in ways that unfathomable. The nationwide COVID lockdown went into full effect last March in 2020. It was the last time we saw full human faces in public. Men started to appreciate the simpler aspects of women, like eyeshadow and forehead wrinkles and shit. Also, having a top-of-the-line graphics video card for your laptop was no longer just a fascination for geeks. As adults and children alike went into full telework mode with Zoom, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, Skype, chat roulette if you're Zane.
Focus, man.
See, hey, man. There we go. The new soundbite engineer.
I think one of the funniest tweets I saw during quarantine was that Skype blew a 3-1 lead to Zoom.
Yeah,
Zoom came out of nowhere.
But hey, MS Teams is up there too, man. MS Teams, like that's what we use at my agency. But listen, we started to cherish and limit our over expenditure of household necessities like toilet paper. People started talking about buying guns to protect their toilet paper. Like, remember this shit? I mean, like the whole frantic.
Full disclosure, I was almost one of those people that got way too panicked. So I think when I think about that first phase of lockdown, that's the Tiger King / no ground beef for toilet paper phase. When I was about to fucking break down because I could not buy meat anywhere, like it's like
that was it for you, huh?
Yeah, it's like, look, man, I'm a big eater, man. I got two boys in the house. Like, we needed to be, you know, trying to kind of picking at like grocery delivery to see what kind of shit I should get. But it was slim pickings. Like, you almost couldn't get shit, and we were getting like the 4th and 5th tier toilet paper, like not even Scott's. Like, it was like some shit with like a cat on the label. That was like fucking transparent. Like, you wipe your ass real slow because that finger's coming through.
Yeah, there's two things I realize you can't go bottom tier with, right? There's toilet paper, and the other one is Q-tips.
Ooh,
you ever buy some off-brand fucking Q-tips?
Those Dollar Tree
in your ear.
I got
it just comes off after one thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I got
Q-tips. Fucking what's the company?
Q-tips, literally the brand name Q-tips.
Yeah. Nobody else can fuck with them.
The cheap shit just looks like cotton swabs, like medical cotton swabs.
Yeah.
Like, you will stab your shit
up. It's not even the right term.
Yeah.
It's like it's not even the right term. It's just like something or equivalent.
It's tricky business too. You can definitely damage your ears using some incompetent Q-tips.
I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one in this world, on this earth, to underuse Q-tips. I don't use them.
Oh, I use them every day. There's really, like a strange sexual satisfaction too if you hit the right.
I feel it. I know that.
It's crazy.
Nobody follows the advice on how you're supposed to use Q-tips. Like outer ear, like fuck that shit. Like, I'm going deep. I'm going balls deep in the canal for real.
Yeah.
You go
Trigger
balls deep with the
ejaculation.
Q-tip, man. You go balls deep.
You
with
could
the
trigger
Q-tip.
ejaculation with Q-tip. I'm telling you.
For real, man.
Yeah.
Yo, listen, there's nothing less than Charmin Strong, Ultra Strong, in our
Charmin's
house.
nice.
Yeah, Charmin, and then the Ultra Strong. But you start to appreciate that shit. You started to during COVID. The Scotch is the worst. That's gas station toilet paper.
That's
Right.
that's high
That's
school
just the
toilet
worst,
paper.
right? But just getting that, I still have. I think I still have a early COVID batch of Scott's toilet paper.
Oh yeah,
sitting
Sell that shit
somewhere.
on eBay.
Early COVID toilet paper and early COVID paper towels. I couldn't get paper towels either, so I ended up getting the Amazon basic corporate shits, the ones that go inside the dispenser. Terrible.
I remember it was March 16th. That was my first day at the job I'm at now, and that was the day that OMB announced full maximum telework.
Mm-hmm.
I had gone through all the interviews prior to that in face to face, but couldn't even get my GFE, my government furnished equipment.
I feel you.
For those,
I'm in the industry. I know. I feel you.
Yeah, for those familiar, that was a whole process. Everything was a process. Everything became a process, right? Like just getting food, your basic essentials. Everything became a hassle. I had a pregnant wife during COVID, which was kind of crazy, but here's the thing about humans in general is our ability to adjust to anything, no matter what the calamity, right? Like just either we've adjusted or we've become numb to it. I don't know.
All of the above.
Is anything you guys did early in COVID, like strictly panic, like the unknown of COVID really shook you up? Because for me, I was I remember people were getting Amazon boxes delivered, but leaving them outside for a while.
Yeah.
Or like leaving all your clothes at the door.
Because we didn't know a lot about COVID initially. People were like, "Oh, it can live off of plastic surfaces for 72 hours," which is unheard of. I don't think that was actually founded, but we didn't know.
Yeah, but Jamal, you were one of the dudes from all the my closest friends that really did COVID right. Like you quarantined like a motherfucker. You weren't going anywhere for. Yeah.
I did because I was so terrified. My older son is asthmatic, so
yeah.
And he used to get sick so much. I was like, if anything would have happened, I feel like it would be him that would be subject to it and take it like completely unlike any other children. So yeah, we locked up like for real. I remember the last thing we and my sons did. We actually went to DC Defenders XFL game. It was the last thing we did as a public event. And it was I remember such a nice day. And that's when COVID had started to bubble up, but people were still like, I think it might be okay because it didn't really slam the United States yet. Yeah. But my son, the hypochondriac, was like, I don't know. And I was like, well, come on, we got to pay for the tickets. Like, which just were expensive. Like, we should just go to the game. And I remember we were sitting and somebody 2 rows up sneezed and he swears he got like a little bit of spittle on him. And he was like, Daddy, like, what the fuck? Like, this is how it stards. So we had to get up. Yeah, we had to get up from our seats and go to the restroom because he didn't feel comfortable unless he went and washed his hands. And a couple of days later, man,
like Neil said, last year we knew nothing about COVID, and now a year later, we know nothing about COVID.
So that was like another thing I had in mind. Like last summer was kind of tough, right? Because that was like the first summer of COVID. People were kind of, like you said, we're kind of hopeful that it might not be that serious, especially with the warm weather kicking in, and it's gonna, whatever the faux science was behind it.
Go away, right? Go away with
like
the warm weather.
People just hey, listen, the humidity when it reaches, it's gonna kill off the certain whatever the
Don't forget about our friend Tyrese. What temperature was he sleeping at?
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck, 90. Was it 92 or some shit like that?
Ooh. He figured it out.
Yeah.
So what was everybody's like? Remember when you had a friend that would text you and be like, "Oh my god, like how long?" Like they would come to you like you're some fucking Dr. Fauci ass, but like, how long is this gonna last? And you're just like, I don't know. It could be 3 months, and it's like, oh my god, 3 fucking months, and now it's been over a year. And I mean, the funniest thing, like if you've been from a brown like culture, right, or even black culture, like they don't believe like mental health, right?
Yeah, yep.
They don't either. They don't believe in it, or especially with brown moms, it's like they don't believe in depression, right? Like you tell your mom, "I'm depressed."
Yeah, they tell you,
and she's like,
"Bring it away." I was just talking about this yesterday.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like depression, yeah. Like what's that? I remember my mom called me. She's like, I don't know. Like I think I'm depressed. Like I feel like I'm depressed. And I was just like, I don't know if it's depression. Like it's just weird. And she said in our language, it made it even more like a tender moment. You know what I mean? But it was like,
that's real shit.
Okay,
man.
Now you kind of because she can't go anywhere.
Yeah,
her trip to the fucking grocery store is like her escape from being stuck in the house.
That's my mom. My mom's main activities are all outdoors. She does line dancing as she's like a whole line dancing crew, and she does a lot of socializing with her friends. She travels a lot. So it hit her harder than, we really realized until probably, like kind of late last year when I noticed changes in her behavior. And it's because, my mom, frankly, is an extrovert and she needs that human interaction. She needs to see her grandchildren and a lot of stuff we just couldn't do out of safety precautions.
So has she tried to maybe pick up some of the things that?
Yeah, so she's got her pod. So her closest friends, they've got their pod, and actually all of them are vaccinated now.
Okay.
So they've really been fortunate. Props to PG County for being like super on the ball about getting a lot of people vaccinated. So she's fully vaccinated. She's ready to start doing things. She actually wants to see my son for his birthday coming up. So we're gonna do like a semi kind of outside thing. So it's moving along, and positive signs. There are more people vaccinated now than infected. I don't know if y'all saw that stat in the I saw it on Twitter yesterday. So we are moving in the right direction.
Yeah,
absolutely. I just hope we don't. I'm praying there's no fucking fourth wave or just a sudden crashing somewhere, because I'm really ready to start to kind of interact with people again and socialize. I'm just kind of feeling that itch.
My hope is that the stupidity that a lot of America still continues to show and almost asking for a fourth wave, once the smart people get vaccinated, which hopefully is, very rapid in the next couple of months, then at that point, I'm like, all right, you fucking dumbasses, don't get vaccinated. Don't wear a mask. All right, it's your own fucking problem now.
Anybody close to you guys vaccinated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my mother got vaccinated. Both Miriam, my wife's parents got vaccinated actually yesterday.
Okay. Cool.
So, yeah, the older folk, they're getting vaccinated. I think she's trying to register us. To get on the list at least. There's a list.
I got on the list with I think it's Virginia Department of Health.
There's some titties on the screen. I got to check the remote to see what this is.
I don't know whether to watch your TV in the background or do this podcast. As soon as the titties come on, though, there might be an awful pause at some point.
Rules of engagement.
So
gotta Google that shit later.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Jamal, what's the haps on the vaccine list? Are you on it? Have you tried to get on it?
Yeah, I put in. I think it was either Virginia Department of Health or I think that's what it was. So I filled out a web form. I got a link to it. Filled out the web form.
Jamal's a 68-year-old doctor, by the way.
he's got dual citizenship too. He's got PG citizenship and
he
royalty.
Put out the web form, man, and I hit like submit, and I got an automated call within like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Like you're on the list. If we have, basically when we have a surplus or whatever the fuck's going on, like we'll let you know. So
surplus of needles.
Right. I'm in the black market with that shit. I don't care.
My goodness.
I have an appointment for next week, so I'm hopeful.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you got that Johns Hopkins.
Exactly.
Yo, hook us up, man. What the fuck? Oh.
It's wild, actually, though, because Maryland supposedly, like, all you have to do to get an appointment is one, you have to obviously time it up and like log in as soon as like they have their reset of appointments for the day, which happens like at midnight every day. But then like you can just say, yes, I'm eligible. They don't check your shit at the mass vax places at M&T Bank. So like people could definitely hustle the system. I don't recommend it because that's kind of fucked up. But
so at midnight, it's like a jump ball to get your info in as quickly as possible.
Right. Exactly. That's a good way to describe it.
It's like, yo,
get the vaccine.
Oh my God, man. That's what I was gonna say. It's like the sneaker game right now.
It's crazy.
Right. Oh man, boss to get the vaccine. Wow. Nevertheless, everybody get vaccine. Keep wearing your masks. we got a little light at the end of the tunnel, but we'll see how it goes. Times have been crazy. Aside from all the other pressing struggles this world has had to endure during COVID, the NBA and some other sports have struggled to stay afloat as well. But the NBA has been staying afloat, and they showed us again this weekend, still managing to hold the All-Star festivities in Atlanta, originally slated for Indiana. Let's go ahead and get into Open Gym. Yes, sir. The NBA All-Star Weekend would not be denied by Adam Silver, or I'd rather call it the All-Star Sunday, since the events outside of the Celebrity 2-on-2 game, which was on Saturday.
What channel did that come on? Did I come on TNT or something?
I think it was on TNT. I caught a glimpse of it. I don't know how, somewhere.
Who was it? Quavo, 2 Chainz, and who was it? Lil Baby that had the terrible free throw?
Yeah, Jack Harlow and Lil Baby. Yeah.
Oof. That was on Saturday night. The skills challenge 3-point contests were held prior to the game on Sunday. And the dunk contest was during halftime of that game. Of course, none of these events are possible without some sort of hindrance. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons held back from the game due to contact tracing from their barber. That's got to be a maddening situation just going into it. Like, Jamal, you probably can't relate to this, but you know, before these events, you need that freshie. I guess you get your beard trimmed though, right? You get something done.
When the world was normal, I was getting my beard trimmed. Yeah, for sure.
Despite all the potential consequences, they still go out and get their cut. It bit them both in the ass.
This fucking thing with barbers, like almost fucking up major events.
Barber just God, man. I've been cutting my own hair for the past 9 months.
I've been cutting my kids' hair. Well, yeah, I put this shit on IG, but yeah, I've been cutting my kids' hair for a year now.
I gotta really look at those fades, man. I don't think I've really noticed them. But
don't zoom in. Look at my later shit, like the early fades. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. I like that. The evolution of a barber is always fascinating.
Very important.
I've gone to barbershops and seen barbers like just start there.
Yeah.
And be just shitty as fuck. And probably 9-10 months later, you're like,
not bad.
It's getting better.
It's all about that growth.
Yeah. But let's talk about this past weekend. We can start with the skills competition because it kind of feeds into what we talked about last week, the cancellation of NBA centers. You got a 6'11".
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Domantas Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
If you're as old as me, you remember his dad, Arvydas, this stiff ass, old ass dude that just couldn't do anything outside the block more than 2 feet.
I told myself he probably came to the league a little too late.
He did. He was in his 30s.
He was worn down at that point. He's still fucking good, but he was.
But his dad used to go pound for pound with Shaq in a 7-game series, right? Old rugged ass Arvydas just shaking his head, looking at his pretty stretch 5 son.
Exactly.
You're not as ruthless as me.
It's really crazy to think about the haul that Indiana ended up getting for a Paul George that won it out.
Yeah. So Sabonis beat out. Who did he beat out?
Vucevic, a 7-footer.
Vucevic, another 7-footer. Go figure.
You got to
future Washington Wizards center. Just kidding.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got to pronounce it like Perk though.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, what did he do? Yeah, go for it.
Vucevic.
That was terrible.
I'm gonna fit that bite in real quick. Oh my god, it sounds hilarious. I didn't hear it though. Aside from the skills competition, the dunk contest, so we can spill out our thoughts on this. I thought overall it was decent. We saw Cassius.
I didn't expect it, man.
Yeah. Cassius Tinsley came out. He did
Stanley.
I'm sorry. Between the legs dunk. Between the legs dunks are funny to me because they're overrated and underrated at the same time. If you know what I mean, they're overrated because you see them all the time.
Right? Yeah.
But they're underrated because they always look good. Yeah, they're still hard as fuck and they look good, right? Like there's different aesthetics. Intricacies. It's the aesthetics. It's the intricacies in the dunk. If you kind of look at it like lifting off, like or putting the ball underneath the lift foot.
Well, motherfuckers do those shit. They do those shits in a game now. Like high schools are doing them shits in games.
Yeah.
I thought this shit was clean as fuck. But I was like, I thought you did it too early. But then I was like, what's a compressed like Dunk contest is not, so it was short, and so maybe he had to bring the heat early. But I thought that shit was clean. His first time.
It got a 44, which I mean,
that's bullshit.
Yeah, but you look at the judges, man. Like guys like Neek and D Brown, like guys that are like craftsmen of the dunk, right?
That is true. That's true.
I think if they saw the rest of the dunks after that, they would have given it a higher rating. But that was essentially, from what I recall, probably one of the best dunks from.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Competition, right?
And it was
all downhill from there.
Yeah.
He got two of the lowest dunk scores, right? Because he got a 41 afterwards for the almost near kiss.
So Anthony Simons wins off of nearly kissing the rim while dunking.
Right.
Yeah.
I said he got friend zoned by the rim because motherfucker. I don't know if he was intending to kiss the rim or if he felt
but
like
he didn't though. So I don't understand.
Not a good idea. You know, he did right. It felt like he kind of drew back because the ball was right in his face. Like fuck.
So
if you're jumping in the air and you try to kiss the, you're gonna fuck your lip up.
You'll fuck your shit up.
Your lip up,
hard to control that.
But he's only 6'3". Is that what it was?
He's 6'3" or 6'4".
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I think that's what. Yeah, because Obi's dunks were good.
Yeah.
But taller guys really don't get love in a dunk contest.
The Simons dunk, you mentioned he's 6'4". His dunk previous to the final dunk, which was when he snatched the ball off of a
mini hoop,
a 12, off the mini hoop, that was 12 feet high. So for a 6'4" dude to casually jump up 12 feet, grab a ball, and dunk it, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Initially, I didn't think he was that impressive, but now knowing the height differential,
I thought Obi had his first dunk was like a new looking dunk, but it's probably something he perfected in like 15 minutes. It was the one where he kind of bounced the ball on the ground and then
between the legs.
It was good. I like Obi. I think his length, his ability to kind of do a lot of things in the paint just with that wingspan.
Yeah, you like his measurables. Go ahead and say that.
Yeah, I didn't want to say. I wanted to use every word of measurables because then it would just fuck up the whole discussion, right? We talk about these dunks all night, but I mean, I think another hard thing about judging some of these dunks or why these dunks get a lot of flack is because, I mean, will there ever be any competition, real competition, to what we saw in 2000, to what we saw
Michael Jordan,
with Jordan and Meek?
I don't know, man. Every time I think the dunk contest, and there was a point where it was just terrible. Like, remember they actually pulled it out of All-Star Weekend? Every time I think that shit's done, and I'm like, okay,
they canceled the dunk contest.
Yeah, man. You know what it was? It was fucking. Remember Fred Jones won that shit? And all he did was toss the ball, and this shit was terrible. Anyway, every time I think the dunk contest might be on his last legs, no pun intended, there's a good contest that comes along and
you get a Zach LaVine versus Aaron Gordon.
That was the best. That was classic, man.
That's probably the best dunk contest ever.
Yeah,
but it's
really. I start with that point, and you tell me that the Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon was the best dunk contest ever.
It was hands down. I think I don't think it's close.
Wow,
I don't like to have two guys dueling like that. Number one, we saw dunks we've never seen before, right? Like. Two guys go back and forth like that, like 5-6 straight dunks. I don't know. For me,
Zane's talking about the competition part about it as well, not just
and for guys to one up each other repeatedly over and over and over and over again.
That aspect of it is true, and I agree with you on that level. But I don't know if I would define it as the best one because of that. Like, I love Zach LaVine. He's one of those dudes that he's just a fucking dunker, right? Like, he just He's got moves. He's flexible. Aaron Gordon has some good dunks too. I'm just saying, like, I get it.
It was the best one in recent memory. I mean, hands down. You can't deny that.
Tell me what's better.
I think Vince is the best dunk contest I've seen.
But it was just him, right? Like,
I think T-Mac had a good.
He had a good dunker too, right?
Okay, Vince was in another stratosphere, right? Like, he was in his own element. He was that good. But there was.
However,
go ahead. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. Like, I think I'm trying to remember who else was in that competition. I know T-Mac was in it. I know Larry Hughes was bombed it. He was the first one up, I think, and he just really set the tone. Awful.
I would say the dunk he did, we put his arm in the rim. That was one of a kind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For me, everything else was a standard dunk that he just made look amazing with his ferocity and his athletic, his how agile and athletic.
Like his hang time, yeah.
I watched the LaVine and Gordon one, and I see shit you'll see shit you've never seen in your fucking life.
Well, Aaron Gordon fucking sat in the air.
He sat in the air and put the ball underneath his legs.
She was incredible, yo. Fucking incredible.
And there was like 7 dunks in there. You're just like, okay, he's not going to top this. Oh, how is he going to top this?
Exactly.
And then they topped it. And it's like, okay, how's he going to top this? And they just fucking topped it again. Like, it was a battle. And there was props, there was stunts, there was, everything was different. So.
Yeah. No, okay. All right.
Abdullah has lost this debate.
No, just watch it again, and you're gonna be like,
he dunked sitting down. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, you're right, and he did.
That
wasn't the same dunk. Was that the same dunk he used the mascot?
Yes.
Yeah.
The mascot was rotating on a freaking scooter thingy, and then he literally timed it so that when the ball went underneath, like the dude was holding it like a fucking tray of fucking hors d'oeuvres and shit. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
I need to go back and rewatch this.
Rewatch it. I watched it like 10 times. And every
that
time
shit was crazy. It was a crazy ass dunk contest.
But what my point is that I don't have hopes for the dunk competition. Like dunk competitions are based on the field, right? Like we're getting into an era where a lot of the great athletic players you want to see engage in the dunk contest, they're beyond that.
They don't want to participate.
Yeah. And you know, so and a lot of the best players in the league, you know, Giannis is beyond it, Levine is beyond it, Gordon is beyond it. You know, the best player like Doncic is not a dunker, right? Jokic is not a dunker. Jamal Murray's not a dunker.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell's already done it.
Yeah.
Right. So you have a lot of these young cats and they're weird positions. They're not exactly dunkers, you know? So I don't have high hopes unless somebody that I've never seen before just comes out the woodwork.
Yeah.
Just gotta be Coming to America. Low hopes going into it.
Oh shit.
It's kind of how I rock with it.
We're not here for that segue.
Why don't you do my next seg, man? Matter of fact, why don't you just take my mic, man? Yeah, I mean, all the contestants for this year, they're all first-time contestants,
right? And not household names.
Yeah,
and I don't want to see any of them next year. So yeah.
We need Zion to do it next year. That will be our hope.
Who else is gonna really make it a competition?
The same Zion that missed like his first 5 dunks in All-Star game.
Yeah, he missed like 6 dunks. He started just laying it up after that.
Exactly.
So the 3-point contest, I mean, open and shut case. Steph Curry.
That was good.
It was good. And I was rooting for Conley. I didn't think Conley was going to be that once he hit 27.
Right.
But just watching Steph clean that last rack.
He needed to.
He swept it, right? Yeah. No, he missed one. He went 5 of 6 on that one.
Right.
But he hit the last. He needed to hit those last 2. It was
like 5 in a row at the end.
Yeah. He had No,
I think it was 4 of the 5 balls for 5 out of the 6 points.
Yeah, but he hit the last 2 that he absolutely needed to, including the money ball to put him ahead.
Win.
And 2 of them didn't even touch the net.
Yeah, the last one didn't. The last one didn't. The game winner, it didn't fucking touch the net. Yeah,
it's insane.
So unfuckwithable.
Yeah.
The game itself, I totally midway through the game forgot that they had changed the format last year and that they reset the score at the beginning of every quarter, and then basically it's first to 170 in the fourth.
It's first to I think something like plus 24 points of the third quarter cumulative total.
Yeah. There was a moment where I felt like it was still like a 17-18 point game, but you saw team LeBron, the team that was losing, team Durant.
Durant.
Yeah, they kind of pulled into like 15 at one point.
I thought they got up
a 3-pointer. They were down like 140.
Yeah. So that was good, and it was always good seeing the format. I think fits because there's always going to be some sort of commotion at the end. And
last year it was a very close game cumulatively as well.
Yeah. But you're always going to have you're always going to have that tension at the end of the game. Even if you're up by 10, 12, you're going to want to get that final bucket to get to the end. So I think that's and Dame time. I mean, insane. I think like 2 other dudes tried to do the same shot before him.
Yeah.
Steph tried to hit one from just around that 40 feet, 45 feet.
He hit one. He hit it off one attempt. Dame took 2 attempts and hit the second one.
Okay.
Which was further. It was like Dame.
Yeah, Dame hit one from half court.
Yeah, it was 1 step over half court. Yep. Yeah.
Insane. It's just not fair, man. Like LeBron is just a head and shoulders above it, evaluating what kind of team is just gonna fucking dominate. But part of it is like, I felt like Durant was like playing.
Durant's team also didn't have Durant though.
Yeah, which is a major disadvantage. I don't understand that. It's like, if we're playing like basketball, like the captains are the two best players, and if you're not going to play with them, like you're at a disadvantage.
Right.
Like
and LeBron got the first pick.
And he got the first pick, and you knew Durant was in a bad position. He was going to pick Kyrie and Harden no matter what. And if he didn't, it would have been a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Right. And he did pick them, and then LeBron's team, like, come on, man. And Curry, Giannis, Jokic, Doncic, Dame, like insane.
LeBron's still going, I need some size with my second unit.
Yeah,
I'm taking
he's like complaining
Sabonis.
at halftime, like, we need a backup point guard. We need a backup point guard. We need a backup center.
So I want to give NBA props for the tie-ins to historically black colleges and universities throughout the game. So
for sure.
At Grambling State and FAMU playing the intros for the players, the music in the background. Clark Atlanta doing Let Their Voice and Sing. The all HBCU graduate officiating crew, which is really dope. And we have the HBCUs is a proud HBCU graduate. I'm a graduate of Morgan State University. Our schools often do a lot more with a lot less. We don't get the big funding, we don't get the big endowments and the big donations, but we still pop out, quality graduates that are doing our thing in the workplace and beyond. So I thought it was a really good thing to see. I also liked the interview between Michael B. Jordan and Kamala Harris before the game started, talking about Robert Covington, who's a Tennessee State graduate, I believe, how he gave back to his school and built them a nice training facility for the basketball team. So all good stuff. It was really, really cool to see. So just want to plug that in.
Definitely. You mentioned that and you kind of ruined what I was about to say about the senior citizen and me, like kind of wishing the All-Star game never kind of changed its format. All love to the HBCUs though. We could still incorporate them, but
even the gameplay format. Yeah.
Well, the East versus West format. And just the players when they used to wear their own jerseys, the home and versus away.
Yeah, I kind of miss that too. I do miss that.
I miss that a bit, but definitely shout out to the HBCUs. I love seeing leagues, organizations, brands, stick with the movement and promote it and raise awareness to it.
Huge, man.
Always great. So I almost want to frame that court, man. The paint.
Yeah, the artwork was so dope.
Fucking
so good.
Dope
So good.
Shit. So good. So that's a wrap. That was an NBA All-Star Weekend or NBA All-Star Sunday. Elsewhere around the league, it seems to be buyout season. The Pistons paid Blake Griffin his remaining $13 million to fuck off. Otto Porter is being shopped around, but the Bulls might end up paying him $28 million to get the hell out of town. But back to Blake, he signs with the Nets. Are they the shoe-in the East?
That's the best deal you're gonna get.
Well, it depends. Do you believe in Milwaukee or not? I still don't. I don't give a fuck how well they do in the regular season.
That they Chris Middleton.
No,
the corner three sniper. No,
I'm not a believer, man. So yeah, I would make Brooklyn a favorite. I mean, Boston is not there this year clearly. So it really is a two-team race, in my opinion. I mean, who else is in the East that's challenging a team with that many stars?
Yeah, to me, I don't think Blake Griffin moves the needle that much to me, but I already thought that the Nets were the favorite in the East just with the trio that they have.
Yeah,
the trio, and they have a guy like Joe Harris, DeAndre Jordan. Like,
oh, did you guys see that Drummond is rumored to be going to the Nets? Out? No, not just bought out, but because the rumor was the Lakers up until actually for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but that wasn't a credible report that came out. Like, it was from somebody I've never even heard of before. So I would take some caution to that.
The Drummond Nets thing?
Right. Like, it was just a random person on Twitter that said that, right?
I thought somebody said it was Allen Robinson that tweeted it.
Yeah, it was Allen Robinson, but I don't isn't he just like fucking around?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Wait, Allen Robinson, the wide receiver?
Yeah.
That's the source now?
Bizarre shit.
Are they like? Are he and Andre Drummond like homies or something?
I don't know,
like,
man. I didn't dig it. I saw it literally like right before we started,
shit.
and people were making jokes that he scooped like Shams and fucking Woj with the news.
Yeah, but I'm still not gonna believe it until Shams or Woj says it.
Yeah,
Drummond's out there. I thought he was for sure gonna go to the Lakers. It might still happen, but he's another big name on the buyout market now. And Cleveland sat him out weeks ago. They were just like, just sit the fuck down until we find somewhere for you to go.
Right.
Dude, listen. In Otto Porter Satoransky return to DC would have been the perfect trade chip to offload Russell Westbrook.
Wow.
Or close to it. Like, you get a serviceable backup point guard, right? That knows Scott Brooks' system. Not to say Scott Brooks has a system, but so you get a serviceable backup point guard for a year and a half, and you get to offload Otto's $30 million contract, right? And by the end of the year, it's just no. I'm talking about Otto. If you trade for Otto.
Oh, so you're calling Westbrook a serviceable point guard? No.
No, Satoransky. You get Satoransky, you get Otto, right?
Enough of this Otto shit.
In
We got to put a
return
timestamp for Otto Porter in the podcast now. Fuck this shit.
Dude, having flashbacks.
Yeah.
That is the biggest what if though to the current Brooklyn Nets. What if the Brooklyn Nets had to actually pay Otto Porter $106 million that they gave him on the offer sheet?
No,
damn,
somebody was biting. I mean, somebody was biting on Otto Porter during that time. It was the Wizards, it was the Nets, obviously. The Bulls eventually bid on him. That 2014 playoff stint, I'm telling you, 2014, 2015. See, here's the thing. Paul Pierce is the person that was responsible for Otto Porter breaking out. And when Paul bounced, he took Otto's soul with him or something.
He took his skills with him.
This motherfucker lost his. He lost everything.
Sungin motherfuckers out here.
Yeah, right.
Your soul is mine.
Something happened, man. So who's on the buyout market? You said Drummond might be on it. Did you name somebody else?
No, I think Drummond's the biggest name. I don't know who else is out there. I think Blake and Drummond were the biggest names. Okay. So I would expect Drummond to land somewhere probably within the next week. That's my guess. There's a rumor. I think Baron Davis was trending this morning because he said that Dan Gilbert refused to let Baron Davis get bought out so he can go play with LeBron. Like he wanted to block that whole connection. I said Dan Gilbert's that petty, and I completely believe that shit. So hopefully that shit is at play because that's where Drummond is stuck in Cleveland for the time being. But Cleveland's dumb. I mean, nobody told them to get fucking 3 centers on their roster, so they put themselves in a situation.
Yeah, they fell apart, man. Drummond had that dramatic ass tweet when he got moved from Detroit. Have you seen it? Has anybody seen it?
I kind of remember that.
It's a picture of him holding his son and he's looking backwards, and the tweet says, "Trust nobody." Yeah, trust nobody, my son, or some shit like that. Like he was in the drug game or some shit. So when is the trade deadline? I know it's typically in February, but since the schedule shifted, is there?
It's March 15th.
March 15th.
Nah,
okay.
I think it's later than that.
Is it
later?
Okay.
I think it's 3 weeks from now, isn't it?
Okay. So they got a few weeks.
Yeah, March 25th.
25th. Okay, I know something with 5 in it. All right.
So they got a few weeks to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couple.
We'll see what happens.
Are they gonna make a move to throw some shit into this fabled playoff run?
I doubt it, but who knows?
Trevor Ariza? Is Trevor Ariza coming back?
It's about time for him to come back.
Oh, Trevor. Where's Trevor at right now? Is he still in Portland? He left. He's not in Portland anymore, right?
Sacramento, right?
He's in Sacramento. What?
I don't even know anymore.
I don't know either, man.
Is he playing?
He was the COVID opt-out when he was with Portland, right?
Oh, yeah. He was a COVID opt-out.
Ilyasova got signed with Utah. I was going to sign with Utah, which I'm thankful for because that's a very Wizards type of signing.
It is.
So
Wizards killer as well, though.
Yeah, he's off.
He's like 27 or 28, right? He's always at the back to we're gonna bring 2K in every fucking show now. Like he's always at the top of the free agent list, right? Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Got a B overall grade and he's 27. Fuck, I'm gonna All right, well, so that's about it for the NBA market. Season starts or restarts tomorrow. Wiz and Grizz. Wiz Grizz, part 2.
Not the team I wanted to see.
This one's gonna be in Memphis.
Yep.
Correct. Hopefully, John Morant doesn't drop a 35-point double-double on them again.
Hey, he's in his bag, man.
Yeah.
He's in mid-season form, John Morant. We'll see. And he was hurt pretty bad earlier this season too. So to see him bounce back and back to,
killing it,
100%. Yeah. So so Wiz Grizz tomorrow. We'll go ahead and hop into the NFL market. Dak Prescott is the talk of the league right now. Finally got his money.
Got the bag.
Something that we were all, hopeful for, based on what happened in recent history with him and snapping that leg in half pretty much with an ankle off. What was it? It was one or the other, right? Either way, his foot was dangling.
That shit's gross, man.
Off that play. 4 years, up to 164 million, 126 guaranteed, 75 million in the first year.
I've never heard anything like before.
I haven't either.
I think it's a signing bonus.
It's a record.
Oh, okay, I got it.
It's a signing bonus, so it's off the books.
So it is a record for the first year.
It's a record for the first year payment.
Gotcha.
It's a signing bonus plus whatever his first year salary is.
Damn, man.
That's an important part, man. 66 million was the signing bonus, right?
65, 60, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So they give that to him up front. Nice. Off the books. Okay, so no trade clause. All this and I know Dak is rehabbing and is presumably on a good pace, but there's got to be some uncertainty there regardless. To me, it goes back to the highly inflated quarterback market. You'd rather be secure than sorry type of shit,
It's a good thing.
So he ends up getting his money. It's funny to me because you got Dak, you got a guy like Matt Stafford, in a new location. You got Carson Wentz, and it occurred to me, who's got the most pressure on them going into the season, right? For me, it's probably a guy like Stafford, who's been given that excuse all his career. Oh, he played in Detroit, never had any talent around him, but now he goes to a place relatively around his prime, maybe a little bit past it, 32 years old, with a shit ton of talent and a great defense.
And a great play caller, yeah.
And a great play caller, Sean McVay. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's Stafford? Dak, again, 75 mil up front, coming off a gruesome leg injury like that, to have to play up to those expectations?
I think it's definitely Dak.
It's Dak?
Yeah, for me, I mean,
okay.
I can see if Stafford doesn't work out, they would say, oh, McVay's a great play caller and he's a great schemer, but he should have known that Matt Stafford never fit, what he's been doing and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I can see that kind of thing. And then with Dak, I mean, he's been asking for this money. He's been asking because when you have Stafford, he's going to be better than Goff. I think we know that. Although they might say, oh, well, Goff went to a Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. With Dak, it's going to be like, okay, you wanted Mahomes money. Well, you're not playing like Mahomes, right? Or you're not winning games. And Mahomes is in the Super Bowl this year. And what was the point of paying you all this money? Yeah. Even though it doesn't just come down to the quarterback. You know what I mean? Clearly, he played, pretty well. And I think he's been on a rapid
ascension.
It's not incline, is it? It's not, yeah. Yeah, he's been ascending. I think he's played really well the last couple of years. And I think I like the idea of paying, although other than the injury, obviously, which is a huge thing. I mean, I like the concept of paying somebody going into their prime. But I think he has a lot of pressure on him because if they don't win games, and I don't think they're going to win games, I think Mike McCarthy just sucks. So it's for the Cowboys.
I forgot about Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, that team is poorly coached. I don't see them going anywhere. And I think he's in a lose-lose, but a win-win, depending on how he handles it. He's getting a lot of money, but I don't see them winning a lot of games.
Jerry Jones doesn't make the wrong decision, though.
I know, right? That's what he said. Famous words.
For Stafford, in my opinion, just to be going on to a team that had a quarterback that they traded for you that went to the Super Bowl, right? Like that pressure. And again, for Stafford to always be known as a person who was kind of given the benefit of the doubt because of the team he played on, because of the surrounding cast that he had, right? To go on a team so talented with so many stars, with such a great defense, to not be able to succeed there, I feel like there's a certain degree of pressure there that might be bigger than anybody else's. So, but I get it. Yeah, Dak. I mean, just wearing that star on your helmet too. You know, just on top of everything else and demanding that money, like you said.
I mean, look what happened to Kirk Cousins, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he couldn't live up to playing towards that contract, even if he played well in some games. Is he playing 40 million well? Is he paying 100 million well?
Yeah.
You know, that comes with a big.
It's a crapshoot, man. The quarterback market is always a crapshoot. Always a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any other thoughts? Please.
No, I mean, like you said, it's a crapshoot, but it's also like, you know, I harp on this over and over again. And it doesn't. There has to be so many things going well for you to succeed, for you to win a playoff game, for you to win a fucking game. You know what I mean? It doesn't always come down to that, but obviously it's a bottom line league, and you know the mainstream media needs something to talk about. You know.
Skip, what do you think, Skip?
Come on now, Skip.
When you look back at all the most successful franchises in NFL history, right? The 49ers, the Pittsburgh Steelers in a certain era, right? You kind of look at how they all tie back to who played quarterback for them, right? During that era.
Sure.
I'm not countering your point, Zane. I'm just probably justifying why we think like this when it comes to quarterbacks, right? Is because everything in history for a team ties back to how well their quarterback played during that era, right? For the 49ers in the 80s, we talk about Joe Montana being the greatest quarterback of all time. In the 70s, we talk about the Steelers. Not so much Terry Bradshaw is probably a bad example because it was always the defense, the steel curtain. But, you know, you always go back to Terry Bradshaw winning 4 Super Bowls, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what is going to continue to inflate this market for quarterbacks today, is because they're always going to have that in the back of their minds. When is our team going to have the best era of their history? When we have the right quarterback, right?
That's all about generational quarterbacks. Bradshaw, Montana,
that's what everyone shoots for. That's what everyone shoots for, the generational quarterback.
Of course.
That's what
the number of people there are that actually fulfill that versus the number of quarterbaks there are in the NFL is
right. It's like there's a high turnover rate. Trust me. I'm a
so I had a friend. I had a friend who was like, I would trade Chase Young for Deshaun Watson.
Oof.
Right. And that's just
like
like
on Twitter.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. It's like something I would do, but I wouldn't talk about. You know what I mean? Because I mean, the allure of that is if you have a franchise quarterback, you probably won't win a Super Bowl, right? Odds are, but you'll compete for 10 years, right? You'll always have a chance, right?
Sure.
But just as much as that, which I completely agree with your point.
It's like Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers.
Exactly, right? But look at Aaron Rodgers.
I get it.
Right?
I get both sides. Yeah, I totally get it.
Aaron Rodgers hasn't been surrounded with the level of talent, I don't think, other quarterbacks have had. You know, the Steelers have had 2 coaches in 60 years? Right?
Mike Tomlin, Bill Cowher.
60 years.
Roughly.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, they've had 3 coaches. Chuck Noll.
Yeah.
They've had 3 coaches, and they've been to 7-8 Super Bowls. They've won about 6 or 7, right? And Joe Montana played in a scheme that was great for him, and they had consistency with coaching, and they had a monster fucking team. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Jerry
I'm
Rice.
giving him credit, you know. And the Patriots have had consistency; they've had the same coach for 20 years.
Yeah.
I won't defend Joe Montana on this show. I promise. I won't.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's a lot of factors that go into it, but here's the dilemma, right? And why the media focuses on it, because it's easy for the media to say a quarterback's name, right?
Sure.
And that's it. It's a lot harder for the media to go into all the intricacies and technical things that go into what makes a winning team, right?
Yeah.
Like people are always like, "Oh, John Gruden won a Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's team. It doesn't count." Like they had to have fucking practice every week. They had to go into every game with the fucking game plan. You know what I'm saying? Like even the players are on record for saying there were certain things that Gruden brought out of us that Dungy could never bring out of us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's so people just make it so uncomplicated when it's very complicated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's just such a random point, but I was listening like it's like creating a great TV show. Like Aaron Sorkin was like, everything is about timing. You know, it's like it's all in a bottle. Like if the timing is there, you know, you can have the same cast, the same writing, the same crew, the same script, and you could, shoot that movie or TV show 5-6 years later. But the timing, everything has to come together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like everything has to be magic, and that's the same thing with winning a Super Bowl. That's why teams barely ever repeat, right? At least in the last 20, 30 years.
That's what I say about my tweets. If I had just tweeted it at the right time, it would have gone viral.
It's all timing.
It's all timing. SEO, man. Your SEO got to be up. You're right though. 53 fucking players on a roster, man, and you've got a bottomless coaching staff, right? I mean, there's 3 coaches per position. So I mean, yeah, this is a symphony, and everything's got to kind of be orchestrated and aligned to one another. So we know where Dak is going. We know where Stafford's going. We know where Wentz is going. We don't know where Deshaun's going, but we've got NFL free agency coming up. I want to quickly kind of wrap up this NFL talk with this. We got some good marquee receivers. I guess marquee in the sense of, their availability and,
they've put up numbers in the past.
What they can bring, Alshon Jeffrey, your Marquise Goodwins, Deshaun Watson, another kind of guy you could plug into your receiving corps to
Deshaun Watson, you mean Jackson?
Deshaun Jackson, man. I'm fucking shit up, man. Deshaun Jackson and Golden Tate.
Golden Tate. How much does Deshaun Jackson actually have left in the tank?
Not that much.
Yeah.
Not that much. That's why I specifically keyed into his veteran leadership. Nothing on the field. There's a few veteran tight ends too. Kyle Rudolph,
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry, Jimmy Graham might be getting released. These are all potential releases, by the way. Nothing set in stone yet. I heard Chandler Jones. I was excited for a little Chandler Jones, JJ Watt, little old age D-line dominance. But Chandler Jones might be out. And Von Miller. Look at Von Miller. His demise came a little bit quicker than we all thought it would.
Injuries.
He had the injury last season.
The injury,
extortion.
Yeah, what's up with these investigations? Because I tried to look them up today, and they still seem to be like mysterious investigations. Like there wasn't any full disclosure on what he was being, or am I missing something? Am I just not up to date? Was it something?
I don't know about this.
I don't know. All I know is that there were no charges brought up against him. Right? I don't even know what he was being accused of.
Yeah, it was never revealed. It was never disclosed for some reason. It was so weird. The weirdest thing ever. And obviously you guys have no fucking idea.
It's criminal charges. That's all they say.
We'll move on. All right. David Johnson. We're not gonna talk about David Johnson. The one hit wonder. He's gonna be hitting the market too. So
Aaron Jones didn't get franchise.
Aaron Jones got franchise, yeah.
Did not get franchise.
Did not get franchise.
Yeah, so they got a week to sign him before he becomes a free agent.
The Packers don't give a fuck.
No.
Definitely not. Fuck.
You know who else doesn't give a fuck? Dan Snyder.
Well, tell me something I don't know.
Fuck. This motherfucker he got all kinds of shit popping off to try to cover up and save face. He's installing bots now on social media ads and shit to positive articles about him.
My boy sniffed that shit out because he's deep in, Washington football Twitter and all that shit.
You talk about this guy a lot, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have more minutes. So you could just have him rant for like an hour about just being frustrated. But when the story broke, he said, it's like this weird occurrence, like this weird flood of positive stories coming from, all these random people all over Twitter. He said, why is all this shit hitting at the same time? He said, must be some bullshit coming. And then sure enough, like right after that, I was like, wow, he sniffed that shit out real quick. So
he sniffed it out. Wow.
Yeah.
We got to bring him on, man. This boy detecting everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get back to that in a second. I'm just reading the report, the Von Miller thing. This is like the office declined to file charges based on our review of information that is currently available. The district attorney's office said the case did not meet the standards of probable cause or admissible evidence to support a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt, and that the decision to charge is in the interest of justice. The office said it would not comment further on an investigation in which there is never a citation, arrest, or filing. That's it.
That literally has no information whatsoever.
Yo,
see what had happened was it had started raining.
So like Jared Kushner, like reading some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
My God.
My bad. Go ahead. Back to Dan Snyder, assholes. All right, come on.
Are we surprised though? This man will do whatever he needs to do to try and save face, just like he already Abdullah said.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. Where's Jeff Bezos to come buy my team?
That's what everybody's waiting on.
Motherfucking alimony. He's happy celebrating that shit ain't happening no more.
I can't get rid of him.
Any last parting thoughts on this, Jamal, from your boy?
No, I mean, he's been waiting for Snyder to take a fall. It's not happening. Snyder's riding this shit up. He's like fucking Andrew Cuomo. He's just riding this shit up.
This, based on what your conversations are with your insider. Like, I understand he hired somebody for an internal investigation, right?
Yeah.
Which is usually a move. You hire one of your own people or someone that's gonna,
It's like cops doing their own investigation of their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And then she ended up coming out and saying, he needs to sell the fucking team. Like, what kind of fucking suits double cross shit is this?
Yeah,
great show.
I don't know. What is Snyder's ownership stake? I mean, he's a minority owner, right? He's a very kind of small sliver of it.
Yeah, he's one of the smaller owners.
Yeah, Snyder.
Oh, you mean just relative to the rest of the NFL owners?
Yeah, I mean, most owners, not most, a lot of owners make their money elsewhere, right? And then they buy a football team. Dan Snyder bought a football team. Yeah. That's like the
to make money.
He owned Six Flags.
Oh my god!
After he bought the Redskins, right? So, but
That can cook. Just couldn't give it to his son. Had to put it on the open market.
What it is, man.
I remember that time, man. That was
that's crazy. What, they bought it for like 500 million or something?
Yeah, 500 million, guys. Yeah. Yep.
We can get that together real quick now.
I'm going to say, let's start that GoFundMe tonight.
All right, man. We're going to go ahead and quickly get into some MMA stuff before we wrap up Open Gym. Israel Adesanya suffers his first loss in the octagon. Is that right, Zane? Yep. First loss?
Yeah, he's first loss in UFC. Yeah.
At the UFC, UFC 259. So you got the insights on that?
Yeah. Israel Adesanya was 20-0, the style bender. He's considered one of the most. He's a good mix of technical, exciting, has some charisma, very skilled fighter. I mean, he's been fighting bigger fighters, for the last few years. I mean,
this was what, 205 this time?
Yeah. So he basically moved up in weight class. He usually fights at 185, right? He's about 6'4", skinny guy, right? He fights about 185. So he basically moved up a weight division. And he's already the champion at 185. So his goal was to be a dual division weight champion, which has happened like maybe 5 times in, MMA history. It's not very often somebody wins a title, goes up in a weight class, wins another title. And it was just supposed to be a one-shot deal because, when you have 2 titles, it kind of creates a holdup for everybody else, right? Because you're constantly going back and down in weight. If you have 2 titles, one division's going to basically be suffering because they can't fight the champion, based on availability, et cetera, et cetera. So, I was worried about him going into this fight. I mean, weight divisions are so critical. I don't know what word to use. They're critical. Like a difference of 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds in a fighter can make or break you. If a guy,
let alone 20.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so like, so if you have like, even in boxing, like if you come in 2, 3 pounds, heavier or lighter than you anticipated, it could fuck you up. You know what I mean? So, I know we saw with Roy Jones, he moved up to heavyweight, and that was pretty much the end of his career, because when he came back down, he wasn't the same fighter. I mean, the effects on the body are just so, crazy that it's not something, only special athletes can really do it. Roy Jones is a special athlete, but, so Adesanya, basically, he's been beefing with John Jones. John Jones moved up to heavyweight. So they've been talking about, him fighting John Jones. So this was kind of part of the process, I think, of fighting John Jones. If Israel Adesanya basically won this fight, it would show Dana White that he can compete with bigger guys. So he loses the fight. First 3 rounds are very close. You could arguably give it to Adesanya, but as soon as the 4th and 5th round came over, and you have the Polish Hammer, Gortat, aka and Blachowicz, who he fought, he's you got to wait at 205. He comes in probably 220 fight night, right?
And he was on top of him the entire late rounds.
So when a guy like that gets on top of you, and you're not good on the ground. I mean, Adesanya is okay on the ground, but he's not. The size disparity was just too much, and by that point, he basically sat on him for 2 rounds, right, in the 4th and 5th round. And the crazy thing a lot of people don't know about MMA is like, you see people striking, you're judging around based off, he hit this guy, he got clean shots. like defending takedowns and getting taken down are huge, right? If you get a takedown in a round, it's like landing like 10 punches on somebody. You know what I'm saying? If you deflect a takedown and block it and block the guy from taking you down the ground, that's a point for you, right? So basically what happens is the 4th, 5th round, he basically gets a 10-8 round from the judges, which I don't think was fair, because basically nothing happened in the round. He got on top of him and he was on top of him for the whole 3 minutes, right? And that's considered domination, in a round in MMA. So he loses that fight, unanimous decision, lost by like 4 points on each card, which was surprising to me. I thought it was a lot closer. He handled it pretty well. He was pretty graceful. He said basically, I took on a challenge and, we didn't really get the job done. And Dana White basically after was like, well, the John Jones fight is done, right? It's not going to happen. So UFC's in an interesting place. When you have guys like Conor lose and then you have guys like Israel lose, it's not good for MMA because these are your cash cows, right? To an extent.
Yep.
But they're your clicks and views.
Your clicks and views. These are the most well-known fighters, right? A lot of people don't know the fighter that Israel Adesanya fought, right? A lot of people don't know, the guy that Conor McGregor lost to, right? So, but it's kind of like, Marlo Stanfield said, Neil, it sounded like one of them good problems. I mean, you have guys that weren't known and then they beat a big fighter. Now they're, what I'm saying? Like you're kind of increasing your amount of reputable fighters and guys who can do something. So, overall it was a great fight. I don't know if you guys saw it. If you guys had any thoughts on it.
Yeah, I had seen a little bit of it, but I was actually the fight before that, the women's fight, Amanda Nunes, that woman just kicks fucking ass. Like it is ridiculous. She's beating everybody.
She fucked that girl up.
Yeah.
Close. Yeah, nobody can fuck with her, man.
This is Neil's contribution to International Women's Day. Good plug.
It was a great card though.
Adesanya, he's 31. He's still got some left in the tank, right? I mean, he's good. He's
he's going to go back down to 185. He's going to clean that division out. I mean, if you saw some of the guys he's fought, big muscle motherfuckers, and just dominated them. Like, he's a very special fighter.
Is that typical of a fighter? For example, Adesanya, like when they lose in a particular weight group, they kind of fall back and go down to their previous weight group to kind of just clean up a bit.
What's typical is that when a fighter moves up in weight, he takes on a tune-up fight, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like you might take on, it's not a bum, but like a lower rank fighter. I mean, if you're going to move up in a weight in MMA that you've never fought before. Now, granted, he's fought at heavyweight in kickboxing, right? So he can put on the weight.
Okay.
But in UFC, I mean, it's a bigger thing. So if a guy can take you down, it just adds so many different, things that you have to worry about. So yeah, I mean, a guy moving up in weight like him, I mean, usually these guys win if they're special, but like I said, in boxing, it's different, right? You can stick a move, you can get out the way, but in UFC, you can grab a hold of a guy. It's kind of over at that point. It happens a lot. Fighters move up in weight classes, and it's kind of like a win-win because if you lose, you have the built-in excuse, like you took on a risk. And fighters respect taking on a risk more than anything, right? You see a lot of fighters jump in 7 days before an event as a backup, right? When Conor McGregor fought Nate Diaz jumped in, last minute. You know what I'm saying? When Masvidal fought Usman, he came in last minute and dropped like 20 pounds in a week, right? He lost. He got dominated, but nobody cares. Nobody talks about it, right? Because he took a risk. So I don't think he's, his reputation's ruined or anything like that.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, get your weight up or you might need to head over to Zamunda and get some specialty training from who we now know as King Akeem of Zamunda. Coming to America is on the docket. We're gonna get on into theater. Let me start off by saying this. I'll admit my estimates have been completely off these past few weeks. Neil, a few shows ago, I overestimated the Wizards 5-game win streak, and you told me that shit was bullshit. And you were right because the Wizards ended up not being shit. Jamal, I totally underestimated.
Bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
All of that. I totally underestimated Coming to America Part 2. But we understood why. The general stigmatized
Context is important. Very important.
That's what I thought was the most hilarious part of Coming to America too, when they talked about, oh, who the hell wants a remake of something 30 years later? I was hollering.
Yeah, this shit was good. It was good on several accounts. Jamal, I'll let you start it off. Break it down for us.
Yeah, so I caught it a day early.
Haven't seen it now.
You haven't seen it? Oh,
but go ahead, do the best you can. I mean, it's not. I mean,
it's
too much.
There really no spoilers to a fucking comedy, so there's that. So here, I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'll start with. I guess I'll start with the good. I thought it was a good modern adaptation of the movie, and what they did is the writers stuck to the template of the original. And they didn't stray from that much at all. Lots of the same jokes, same characters, same cameos, like all that stuff. They knew what worked well, and they stuck with it. It's like, you know, if you ran a halfback sweep on fucking Madden 94 and that shit killed, like you just stick with that, right? Because it's solid. The bad, the writing was not really good in certain spots. I thought Tracy Morgan, I expected more out of Tracy because that's my boy. His character. Not that he could have been better utilized because of, you know, where he was, would fit into the plot. But, you know, at certain points I was like, man, you know, it's like a little flat. Like some of those jokes just kind of a little cringe, you know what I mean? Just like didn't really pop. I know.
I'm a Tracy Morgan apologist. And so I'm
we understand, man.
I know what you're talking about.
I love Tracy. Yeah, we dig deep into old Tracy interviews, and that's just, you know, it's our man's. But
I let him slide, though. I don't know why.
He wasn't bad, but he wasn't good either. And that
wasn't. I know he wasn't.
Disappointed me a little bit. And a little, you know, a couple other jokes here and there were just okay. The ugly was, man. I love Tiana Taylor. Her character was not good at all. I'm sorry. Like her playing, I forgot fucking Wesley Snipes' character, the daughter. I mean, outside of her kind of performance scenes, like that last scene with her, I'm not going to spoil it for you, Zane, but man, her shit just didn't land at all. And I think that was pretty much the consensus I've seen across the board. So overall, look, I think they did a good job with the movie. I think it got unfairly shit on. And who's shitting on it? The old heads, 40
really?
Plus.
Okay.
From what I've seen, it's the older heads who did not want the movie to be touched in the first place. And we're just perched and waiting to criticize the shit.
Yeah.
You know,
I was one of those dudes. But I ended up watching it, and I was taken aback by how much I was surprised because, for one, like you mentioned in the beginning, the way they were able to connect the two movies, as best as they could. Here's one thing that I kind of didn't like was realizing the large gap in time between the two movies. Like just seeing them so much older. Yeah. Right. As
30 years
as the first time you saw them since that movie, that kind of bugged me a little bit, but they made up for it. I feel like they used CGI to extend scenes from the first movie, which I thought was fantastic, right? Just kind of going into some of the background of some of those nights that and I thought Leslie Jones, kind of like Tracy Morgan, I feel safe whenever she's in a movie, even though she's not always good.
Yeah, it's just she was better than I thought. They still fucked her scenes up a little bit, but she was much better than I thought, because I think Leslie's good in very kind of small spots. So to see her in such a big role, I got a little nervous, but I think she did well.
And you're right. She might have had a little bit more of an expanded role outside of you know where she peaks at.
Yeah.
And Vogue and Salt and Pepper, like those kind of plugs, like I enjoyed that shit.
Those little songs were nice.
Right.
Yeah.
That Neil heard for the first time.
I cannot neither confirm or deny.
Speaking of Neil, I'm glad you saw part one before you saw part two.
Oh, for sure.
Because it borrowed almost 100% from part one. And I saw what I said was the most interesting description of the movie was some publication said that Coming to America 2 was basically a set of Easter eggs in search of a movie. And I said, you know what? Not really mad at that description.
Yeah.
I got a 3-part question.
Yes.
One. Okay, so I watched the first 20 minutes. And as soon as I turned it on, I was, like I said, I had low expectations. And I do that because it enables me to enjoy something like this for what it is.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I enjoyed like the first 20 minutes I watched. I smiled a little bit. I laughed. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna probably enjoy watching this, right? But then something stuck out to me, and it's probably what my initial criticism, or for lack of a better term, should have been when we talked about this is, and then let me think, because this is where the 3 parts come in. For you 3, first question, will you ever watch this movie again?
Probably not.
Does it have any, what, Neil? 3-part question. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going to go one by one.
No. I'm going to do that first. I'm going to go back and, whatever. So will you guys ever watch this movie again? Right. Number 2, do comedies now in the last 5-10 years that you've seen, whatever those are, I don't even know many comedies. I don't watch many, but do those movies in general have any replay value, or is the replay value that we have based on nostalgia, right? Because a lot of the comedies we rewatch are from the 80s and the 90s.
Correct.
Right? We probably don't rewatch many early 2000s even comedies over again, right? And 3, this is for Neil specifically, or any of you guys. Did Neil enjoy the movie because he had saw them back to back? Right?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
It's like when you watch a TV show. I watch a lot of TV shows at once, right? So when I gotta wait a week to watch an episode, my criticism, like my penchant for criticizing it rises dramatically, right? As opposed to if I watch all that shit in a week, I don't judge the individual episodes as hard, right? Like when I watch Sopranos, I watch it all through, and I'll read like criticisms like, "Oh, season 5 is just not the same," and people are like, "Oh, I heard season 6 isn't good." But for me, I'm watching this shit all the way through. Same thing with Game of Thrones. I watched it first 4 seasons, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing." And when I had to actually sit there and watch it week to week, I had a whole fucking week to stew on how bad that shit was, right? So all of you 3. Yeah. Starting with Jamal, go down to Abdullah, go to Neil. Would you ever watch this movie again unless you were showing it to someone else?
Probably not. But I don't think that's not limited to Coming to America too. I just don't. The only comedy stuff I watch repeatedly is stand-ups. I don't really watch comedy movies repeatedly, like over and over again. I'm not going back.
Not anything recent, right?
No, I'm usually not going back in comedies and looking for plot points I may have missed or.
Yeah, but you see Coming to America, the first part, how many times?
Several. Yeah. A lot, yeah. Right? But nowadays, if I go back and watch anything in Coming to America too, or any recent comedy, I'm just going to watch a couple scenes. Like, oh, I remember this particular part. I'm going to watch, for example, that James Earl Jones funeral shit again. That shit was fucking funny, right? I'm going to watch probably the barbershop scenes again, but the whole film, I'm not interested in that.
Okay. Abdullah.
Yeah, it's the same with me. I think for me, the first one is everlasting, right? Like it's just everlasting. That the first time you saw it, the evolution of the characters, the overall just plot itself is something that's everlasting. For me, part 2 was just, a pastime to see, how they would have expanded the storyline. That's what I was most curious about, was how are they going to be able to connect the 2 movies, and how are they really expanding the storyline from part 1 to part 2. And without giving a big spoiler, there was some more connection there in terms of Akeem and his quest for seeking a bride, a companion that leveled with him, that he would be able to understand and know, not just somebody who was appointed to him in an arranged marriage, right? There was an extension of that belief system, of those traits, to another character in the show, in the movie. You get what I'm saying, Zane? Without giving a spoiler. Yeah. So that connection to me was kind of cool, but it was only cool because the first movie established that. Right?
Exactly.
The first movie established that. And that's what will always be everlasting. And no, so to answer your question, I would never seek to watch it another time.
Yeah. Neil?
Yeah, I think I like the way Abdullah put it. I would never seek to watch it another time because I got better things to watch than that. But I just, if it was on in the background again, I would put it on in the background, laugh at it if I'm doing something else.
But like to the nostalgia point, right?
That's safe for things like Home Alone.
Exactly. But when did you first see Home Alone?
I don't know. Good while ago.
A good while ago, right? So like I'm always thinking about this. Like if like I tell people to watch Star Wars, and I tell them like, okay,
never seen Star Wars.
I watched it when I was a kid. Yeah. So now when I watch it, it's still exciting. But like Abdullah liked it.
Yeah.
There's people like, I can't get into this shit because there's no nostalgia associated with it.
Sure. But it's different. I think, and I was going to bring up Star Wars. It falls along the similar lines of what we're talking about here. I think Star Wars, the storyline is so much more long-winded and so much more deep and intricate than a Coming to America is. That even if you
nostalgia in general,
the nostalgia. So but I didn't have that nostalgia factor, right? Like I always hear people talk about episode 3 when Anakin officially becomes Darth Vader, right? For me, as a person who watched those movies pretty quickly in between, because I caught up at a much later age, it was still that dramatic to me, even after having watched 4, 5, 6 and seeing Darth Vader the same way everyone else who watched it for the first time saw Darth Vader and then went back to the first 3 episodes. For me, it was the same thing. Like Darth Vader had already been established as this villain. For me to go back and see the creation of that character was still as riveting as, no, I wouldn't say as riveting, but it was still riveting to see that without the nostalgia.
Of course. Because I was thinking about, like right now, I was just thinking about like, I'm going to watch this movie and I'm going to enjoy it, right? But if I think back to like the scenes that I laughed at, like in the original one, right? It's like stupid, simple shit. Like very simple. Like when Hakeem's just like, oh, did you see the football match? It was the Packers of Green Bay against the Giants of New York. And it ended by them kicking a, whatever. Like so fucking simple. Just simple, effective writing.
The bar scenes when they're looking at
shit.
At the bar.
My name is the bucket. The mop in the bucket. I laugh at that shit to this day.
Yeah, like he's just moving this shit, and like I'm gonna watch the movie, but I almost have a gut feeling that there's no single piece of dialogue that is gonna be simple and effective and entertain me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Outside of the callback and the extravagance of it.
But I feel like we don't get that from modern comedies anymore.
We really don't.
Sure, from TV, we can get it from TV, but a film, I don't think so, man.
There might be comedies we can get it from, but they're not mainstream. I haven't seen them.
Well, and
they're like indie films.
Indie films, exactly. I was going to say that because the films these big ones are designed to make money, right? And to make money, you need to be safe and palatable to so many different audiences. So then you're not going to get niche, like really fucking.
Yeah, and superhero movies have effectively, and I'm not shitting on Marvel. I've seen all the movies, but they've effectively ruined cinema, right? You know, not because it's their fault, because that's what everybody's fucking doing. Right? Thrillers are dead. Suspense movies are dead. Horror movies are all about the jumps and the scares and the little fucking doll baby that comes alive, whatever the fuck it is, right? There's no originality. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's because ever since Marvel came out, everybody wants to see the world ending, and
blockbusters are very it's made filmmaking very formulaic, you know.
Yeah, which was Martin Scorsese's criticism, which he got a lot of heat for. He's just like, it's not what I go to the theater for. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but that is his criticism because they don't make those kind of movies anymore.
Right.
Rick Ross had a cameo. That was fun.
He had a.
Did anybody notice that? Rick Ross.
When was that?
Yeah.
He was one of the soldiers.
Oh,
one of Wesley Snipes' soldiers. I think Michael Blackson was next to him.
Yeah, the speaking part and everything.
Yeah.
Really fucked up accent.
The
movie was filmed at Ross's house. That was how the big story is.
Oh.
Yeah, that mansion where everything took place is Ross's mansion, and
yeah, I saw that today in the picture.
I think it's in Atlanta.
Damn, I want to rewatch the original now, man. Damn it. Semi, you must be taken to the Waldorf Astoria immediately. Make sure he's thoroughly bathed and washed.
Man, but the soul glow shit, man. My motherfucker got left at the door in the rain, and his soul glow got all fucked up.
Man, Daryl, fucking Daryl.
Hey, we had no Daryl cameo. We had no Daryl.
No Daryl, man.
It just occurred to me right now. No Eric LaSalle. Nah.
That would have been fucking great if they just showed Daryl. What if he's like bald or he has like no hair. Shit.
Yeah.
It sure writes itself.
Now you ain't never finishing this shit. Now, no Eric LaSalle. Fuck that.
That's a fucking deal breaker right there.
Yeah, delete that shit from your library.
But I
Clear
think
your cash, man.
between coming to America and Trading Places, I definitely need some more OG Eddie Murphy movie homework.
See Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah, man.
What's that?
You've seen Beverly Hills Cop?
Nope.
Oh man, you gotta watch Beverly Hills Cop, man.
All right, it's going on the list.
Although it's not the same, but it's a good movie. 48 Hours? Gotta watch 48 Hours.
Oh, 48 Hours is great, man. I need to watch that again.
Vampire in Brooklyn. I'm fucking with
you. So yeah, Coming to America, free on Amazon Prime. Regardless of what 40-year-old tells you anything about the movie, the shit was good.
Fuck with it. Yeah.
Fuck with it. So we're moving on. As we mentioned during the opening,
I'm a man. I'm 40.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Wish I had that sound, but I can't pull it up.
Yeah, I got you. As we mentioned earlier in the opening, tonight does mark Biggie's death anniversary. 24 years now since his murder. Netflix released a new documentary titled "I Got a Story to Tell." And you know, Jamal, to your point, it's easy to make a cliche documentary about Big. We all know about Biggie, right? We know about his upbringing, rapping on the corner, relationship with his moms, Valletta Wallace,
hustling,
breakout, the hustling. But this particular doc, I think, achieved more than anything else, humanizing Big a little bit more.
Okay.
It really focused on his perspective of things as things transpired in his life. And it began with kind of really delving more deeper into his mother's background in Jamaica, growing up in Jamaica, leaving Jamaica as a teenager to seek opportunity in America. It always occurs to me, like, you know, when people think that way, immigrants especially, and they end up in, you know, in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. And where the struggle, like she even alluded to it. She's like, you know, in Brooklyn, it was all taking care of your kids, going to work. In Jamaica, it was fun in the sun. But she had this dream, this underlying ambition to be filthy rich. And she admitted to that as well. And she just felt like she was never going to get that in Jamaica. So they talk about that. They talk about her migration to America. But when you watch certain aspects of Biggie's life that this documentary highlights, you realize that Big really didn't expect any of the shit that happened to him. He was just kind of just going with the flow. If he could rap, he was going to rap. If he was going to hustle, he was going to hustle. Even when he became featured in the Source as unsigned hype, he was still hustling because he didn't trust it. He didn't trust the process. He didn't trust that it was going to become any bigger than what it was. Everything was kind of like a new fascination, a new something unexpected for him to blow up, because for him it was just all about the talent. It was everything that just was spewing out of his mouth was all skill and talent. And for him it was normal. For other people it was iconic. It was otherworldly. Like when Puffy talks about it, Puffy said in one part of the documentary that despite hearing the demo, as soon as Big came into his office with Mr. C, he made Big spit 48 bars off the top right there in front of him because he didn't believe it. He didn't believe it. He was like, I needed to see it. It's one thing when you hear it on the tape, it's edited, you know, people, you know, put shit together, but it's another thing to just see somebody actually spit that shit in front of your face the same way.
So Big to me never seemed like he really enjoyed the limelight.
Yeah.
Even with like how high profile Big was in Junior Mafia and like how much Bad Boy owned shit, he seemed to shy away from it. It seems like they kind of pulled the string on that a little bit too.
They key on that exclusively. Just and one thing I love about these kind of documentaries is when you get people on that refer to Big as Chris and not Big. When they talk to him, when they talk about him as Chris, that's when you know like they're getting really into the raw shit. They had a few people, not just one or two. They had 3 or 4 dudes on there, people that inspired him musically that we never really heard about, like the jazz musician that lived downstairs. That used to take him in his car and just talk to him. He was one of the first guys that kind of noticed the way Big flowed, kind of to a drum beat, to a drum line, kind of, you know, like B-I-G, P-O, kind of shit. Like those are the kind of interviews, the kind of shit that the perspective that you saw that you don't see in other more high level documentaries that kind of circle in on his fame and his beef and his murder, shit like that.
Did they get into the death? Did they touch on a little bit? Did they spend a whole episode on it? How much
more so as an intro and an outro. So the intro started out with him, you know, being driven around Brooklyn in the hearse, the crowds, and they kind of exited with that too. They wanted to really focus more on who he was as an individual, as a human, going through the different traps on the street, stardom, everything else that was involved in his life that kind of intertwined a lot. Like I said, you know, he was putting out demo tapes and still hustling at the same time. He was getting involved with families, kingpins, all this type of shit, because he just never had that conviction that he was going to make it one way or another outside of the streets. You know, it's funny how we talk about 6ix9ine last week, where he was so convinced that I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna do this before any of that shit. Big didn't have that optimism. Big was kind of like
social media. There's no.
Yeah, exactly. So we could do a whole show on the differences between the two eras. But obviously you see that when you watch how Big's life transpired.
I would like to see more about Voletta Wallace's how she got to the country and that part of the background. I've always been kind of fascinated about, you know, Voletta and Afeni Shakur, like being these kind of, you know, almost unwilling celebrities because of the death of their iconic son. So there's
a ton of Voletta Wallace, Wallace in this, and again, it really keys on his relationship with Voletta a lot. There are differences in just everything. Voletta kind of talks about herself as a more country western type of individual, kind of how she was raised in Jamaica, and the whole rapture with Big. She said at one point, Big told her, "Stop listening to my music because you're not gonna like it," and she stopped listening to it. She's like, "I'm just gonna stop listening to it." But I won't give too much away. I think it's worth a watch. It does definitely provide a whole different perspective.
How many episodes?
It's just one. It's just one.
Oh, it's just one. Okay, it's a series. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah. And it's one. It's about $1.47.
Okay.
Definitely check it out. It's on Netflix. It was released this past week. So we'll go ahead and wrap up theater with that. Nothing else on TV. That's all we got for tonight. Neil, you raising your hand? No? Okay. Just stretching. We're going to go ahead and seg into Detention from there. It's been 24 episodes, and we got Papa John's on here for the first time. Which is I don't believe it.
It's because he was in hiding before.
That's a good point. Papa John's, first of all, admitting that he's on, he's in racism rehab. And here's my first thing: like, if your first step to recovering from rehab from racism, don't do an interview with Owen.
No. The most toxic network you could possibly join.
That's what it was on?
He was on OAN, dude. Like,
you gotta have no awareness at all.
Who the fuck is your publicist? So you know what's a good idea to rehab a racist image? Go on a conspiracy theory network. Like, what the fuck? My man said he spent 20 months trying to cleanse the N-word from his vocabulary.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's literally, why the fuck does it take you 20 months to do that? It's literally a 20-second decision. Okay, I'm no longer going to have this in my vocabulary. Idiot.
I'm just imagining Papa John, whatever the fuck his name is, in his whip, just fucking bumping the shit out of some fucking Trick Daddy or some shit. But you know that, and then like having to stop himself from using the N-word. Like, what the fuck?
It's such a terrible. He's had such a weird fucking ride. I mean, remember he did that interview? Was it last year? He was like sweaty and shit. Like,
bricks,
it was weird, perspirating like fucking garlic crust.
Like the reckoning is coming. Motherfucker, like butter.
That Jordan Peele gif, right? Yeah.
Garlic sauce coming out of his pores.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. I mean, just listen to yourself when you say like recovering from racism, like trying to get this particular word out of your dictionary for 20 days, for 20 months or whatever it was.
20 months.
It's just insane. So Papa John's, welcome to the void, participation trophy Detention. We're gonna keep it on the racist theme because why not when you're in
somebody detention? Said hold my beer, Papa John's.
Yeah, hold my beer. Or whatever the fuck they drink at the Buckingham Palace, the royal family. It's always funny to me. They're shell-shocked by the accusations of racism made by Harry and Meghan in an interview with Oprah. Like, it's one thing when the accusations come out, but then like the accused comes out like, oh, we're very concerned about these accusations. Have at it.
I missed the interview. I was watching the All-Star game, but bro, like this shit has been dominating the news cycle. And why do people maybe just not want to believe that the royal family could be racist.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, why is that so hard to actually accept and digest? I mean, I'm not saying they have the markings of being racist, but you know, this is a very conservative, fucking lily white institution that's fucking older than time of immemorial. I mean, why wouldn't it be the case? None of us were there, but I'm saying if Meghan and Harry said the shit, then you know I'm inclined to believe there's some truth to it. Maybe go ahead.
We're talking about people who are the descendants of folks that traveled 3,000 miles over an ocean to colonize a bunch of territory and
that's also a good, interesting. It's a pretty good plot point there. It's good. Kind of predisposed.
Wait a second. Put on the reading glasses, man.
There was just so much shit that went on. It's really troublesome. So I love Meghan Markle, going back to her Suits days, of course. And so the stuff that she was saying was just heartbreaking. She was just like, yeah, I literally had a struggle and had suicidal thoughts and things like that. And like the royal family, you know, I learned that, okay, there's a distinction between the royal family and the institution or whatever, you know, that implies. But literally they were just letting the tabloids just go after her. And they were like, oh, Meghan made Kate Middleton cry, when then Meghan says, oh, the opposite. Kate Middleton actually fucked up something for my wedding. I cried. And then 7 months later, the opposite story comes out and the institution doesn't say shit. And then like, let's not even talk about it.
Yeah, why would Harry not want to go at people? Because look at what happened to his fucking mom, yo. Like, Princess Diana got literally run to death by tabloid. So yeah, I mean, I don't find any of this shit far-fetched, honestly. Like, none of it.
And Oprah did a marvelous job with the whole thing. Her reactions when, you know, Meghan was essentially like, yeah, there was a question about, you know, my son Archie's skin tone. Oprah was like, and this has probably been meme gold. Like, what?
The hands up. Oh, yeah.
What? So, yeah. The royal family learn to come to the 21st century and stop worrying about the stupidest shit.
Seriously.
Yeah. Learn some shit from Zamunda, man. What's up with y'all? Come on. We're going to wrap up Detention with Burger King, United Kingdom Burger King. This is what happens when brands try to get witty, man. Like, just stay robotic. Stop tweeting all this cute shit on social media. Burger King tries to raise awareness, promote more female workers in culinary arts as top chefs. Puts out a tweet that says, "Women belong in the kitchen."
Just like, who the fuck is your social media team?
Yeah.
Like, how fucking stupid are you? Literally, us at Hoop District have enough sense that this is not a fucking thing you tweet out during the current day and age, regardless of anything.
It was so bad. I mean, I saw the full ad campaign, so they were raising awareness, just like Abdullah said. So in the newspaper, it had women belong in the kitchen, but it had a whole paragraph of context under it. To tweet that shit and just leave it there and then try to come back and get mad because people were calling you out. It's like the UK is fucking up all around this week.
It's just like, do you know how Twitter works? One tweet is going to blow up, not the whole fucking ad campaign.
Nobody cares about the whole thread. Yeah, exactly.
And I meant to bring up the actual newspaper ad because the newspaper ad looked probably worse than the tweet because they had that shit. Headline. It was the whole page, and then like in fine print at the bottom was like the elaboration.
It was like Comic Sans 48-point font, and then Times New Roman 12-point font.
That's exactly what it looked like. Actually, that's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like some fine print. Yeah, like I said, these brands, these organizations, you know, keep your social media robotic. Stop getting all cute, witty, because this shit's gonna backfire. That was a jam-packed detention. That was real hot. That was hot.
We didn't even talk about honorable mention Miles Leonard.
Oh, he was a late squeeze in.
We definitely not repeating what he said.
Yeah,
at all.
Listen, stay off social media organizations. Stay off COD. Miles
Twitch.
Leonard, Myers Leonard. Don't end up in racism rehab. And don't take 20 months if you're in there in the first place.
Exactly.
Like, god damn. And I'm gonna leave it at that. That's a wrap for this week. Episode 24 is in the books. I am Abdullah, Jamal, Zane, Neil. It's past midnight, man. We out of here.